Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today, and I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, Kit. Good to see you, Brayherd. Good to see you, Bedrocks. Good to see you, Bear Fox. And Kit, congratulations. You have won the crown of Firstendom, crown of hopes and dreams that we can actually get closer to finishing the observatory today. I believe we'll make actual progress. I had some thoughts on the telescope. But it's good to see y'all. Hope everyone's doing well. We are craftithing, as Beer Fox says, Minecraft macaroni and cheese. No, Minecraft macaroni and cheese. Only for me. Also, I feel like that is a tie-in that's been done, Beer Fox. I don't know. It feels like it's swaying. Anyway, let's dive on in. Minecraft. I think it's spelled with a K at that point. And it would be shaft. Anyway, first thing I want to do is I have some more mushroom stems. So we can finish that portion. And then I want to work on the finishing up the carpet, because our cactus has grown. Come on, Chef Essen. I believe it. If they have any back, can't be a big departure from SpongeBob as far as shapes goes. Well, as a parent, I'm sure you will learn all the shaped macaronis that there are. Consarn it. I need to go get the Silk Touch to remove that safely. Well, we just wrapped it up, so I'm actually going to break it. And it does show the Microhise, but there'll be a block on top of that, so I don't care. Creeper is the same extrusion plate as SpongeBob. It's not a sentence I had on my bingo card, if I'm being entirely honest. But this is the world we live in, apparently. Let's go shear some sheep while we're at it. And do I have an axe? There we go. Yes, axe. Oh, I totally forgot to say this at the top of the show. Welcome, Sheila Bedelia. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Sheep, 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 sheep. Hey, I hope. How you doing today? You're good at what? All daydreaming. Nice. Okay. It looks like silly burger. Anyway, one of the thoughts I had on the telescope was not making it be able to be seen through, and thus like saving on material and a layer, if that makes sense. So instead of starting at a 3x3, it can start like a 2x2. So, the agenda for today is that we're going to finish up the carpet, and then we're maybe even going to start working on the dome above that. So that. Green dye. One more brown, I can use that. You guys are still nannyless. I've taken the week off work. Oh, you're nannyless? What happened to the other nanny? Did she leave? Spending his nap time making a top for a wedding next week. Aww. Use scraps of fabric to make Mickey a set of base layers for winter. Nice. Keep him nice and warm. Going to regret it when the telescope doesn't work? Not really, because the telescope will never work as a telescope. It would just let you look through it, so it would just be a glorified window. Your nanny resign. Ah, that's unfortunate. No, I don't think I had heard that. Or if I had, I apologize. Keep joking that she resigned because she's finally changed weapons after avoiding him for months. And forced her out the door. I mean, I could see that being a harrowing experience. Come on! It's totally nighttime. There we go. Now, I imagine I'm going to need as much blue wool as I can. If that sentence even made sense. Words seem hard and overrated. In fact, I'm probably going to need even more than that, but we'll just... Well, nah, I can make it a whole nother... Ken has English? Never. Got your summer class finals. Hey! Good job. That's awesome. Congrats, Brayherd. Well done, and well deserved. We do love an A. That's why Canadians are very welcome here, A. Terrible joke, I know. Bunch of green wool. Green wool becomes green carpet. Do I have another piece of green wool lying around? No. Nothing like a precarious set of stairs. Favorite English image is the picture of the fire extinguisher in translation. Conchi was a hand grenade. Oh dear. Aw, dang it, I'm not gonna have enough green. Because I have this one continent here. Well, let's start filling in the blue. You need to make a desert continent? I kind of did over there. But I don't want too much of the yellow because it's very bright. But I feel good that we've filled in all but one continent. Aside from the oceans, but That's just a matter of just waiting for our sheep to regrow their wool. Because I have enough lapis lazuli. It looks like a chicken. I didn't even intend that, but it's chicken continent. One of the guys in the parish just moved away past a couple of days so he could start seminary in a couple of weeks. Hey, that's awesome. Congrats and prayers for him. Chicken chocolate. We're done. We did it. We found peak Minecraft humor. There's no further that we can go. I'll be 2,500 points if I could give it. Now, the tricky thing is that I also want to start collecting white wool to build the dome. So that's just... We'll need about that much more lapis lazuli to finish it, to be honest. Anyway, really quickly, we're going to jump to our creative workplace. Just so I can show kind of what I was thinking potentially. So this was kind of the idea originally. And I don't think it's quite capturing the idea of what I want. It's like that sense of like a telescope in a wizard's tower that's kind of big and kind of janky. But what I had in mind as a potential option, I'll do this in a lighter wood so it's easier to see. Would be now we could put like a painting or something here. Make a wool farm. I have a wool farm. It's called A Bunch of Sheep. I could put like a painting or something here. But anyway, this would be kind of the main base of it. And then we could... Unfortunately, there's not like a steel or an iron stair. So I'd probably have to stick with copper. But I could... In theory, you know, you have like a bracket of some sort. This allows it to get bigger, as it were. So it can go from a 2x2 to a 4x4 kind of a thing, maybe. Or maybe a 2x3. No, like one that can track state change that dispense a clipper. Yeah, I can track a state change, and I can dispense my clipper to clip the wool on the sheep. I don't understand the question. No, this isn't working either. I want to center the 4x4. I think you're right. It's just, it's odd building it at a slant. So that's where I would want to center things. So that creates this kind of odd shape. So what I would probably do there is I might use a slab. Just for that layer. Be easier to build this at a diagonal in Minecraft? Not so sure. Because, like, your other option for diagonal is just using blocks. You get this very rough shape. And I think this works better as a shape, like using the steps. Because, like, if you want to build a circle at an angle like this, like, you know, 2x2 circle. Of course, that could work. X, X, X. What? I get that you're trying to describe a shape, but I'm not sure how. See, so we could do that, but if we're gonna do that, then I think you go with the 1x1, or the 3x3 with a 1x1 hole. That's kind of the base here. It's trying to describe a diamond with one on top, 3 middle, 1 bottom. So that's basically what we did here. Like, that would just be... just trim off the corners. Just trim off the corners, Fivehead. The problem of doing it that way is then if you actually do want to see through, you actually have to use stairs. Yeah, like I could trim off these corners. And use stairs on the inside. That's what I did last time I built. That's the thing, is I was just trying to get away from what I did last time to build a microscope telescope, but maybe there's just not a better way in designing this. This is why I like coming to creative, to kind of feel out ideas. I think the square is throwing it off. I mean, to get a decent sized circle with definition, you're gonna need it to be a 5x5, because that's the smallest you can make a circle in Minecraft that isn't just a square. And then you just have a big plus sign. Could use the steps. I mean, using the steps kind of just leads back to where I was, I feel. Because then you can do that, and you can see the night sky. It doesn't look terrible, because you can... Yeah, so if you shape it entirely out of stairs, this is what you get. And out at the corners with the step facing out on the corners. Are you saying, like, doing it like that? Like, step it up this way? Yeah. Maybe. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so that's it kind of stepped in. So Probably then replace these, honestly, I think, with half slabs. If I'm going to do that. Get out of here. Nope, not what I meant to do. Okay, so yeah, that has to stay there. My brain wants round slice. Well, I think this is actually a good way to make a round slice because, maybe this needs to be oak, something a little darker, but it's good to do it in a light. I love that you learn the boat recipe by touching water. Yeah, this is giving it a sort of gentle rounded shape all the way around, as well as kind of the same shape on the bottom. I like this more than I would have thought, to be honest, Beer Fox. And then you can look through it. Okay. I think we can work with this. And then can have sort of the mounting point somewhere. Okay, so that's kind of the proof of concept. And that does give it, so let's do that really quickly with a copper. Yeah, that gives it kind of an oval shape. Because unfortunately, there's really not a half slab vertical that you can use, which, now that I say that, is really weird, but I don't know if this is exactly what you had in mind, Beer Fox, but I like it, and this is what I'm going with. That's not what I meant to do. That was a force of habit because my brain goes, Minecraft is closed. Time to turn off the computer. Oops. It was close but not exact. Hey, I'll take it. So what do I want to make that out of? Maybe spruce would look good. I think spruce is because it's light but not too light. It's admittedly also have all the components already. And then I was thinking maybe block of iron. Well, maybe copper on the very end of the telescope. for that metal ring, because like if I do it with iron, I don't get access to all the same blocks. Something brassy tone. Yeah, but we could also let it turn green. Because then it would actually... This would actually work, because then it would match the spruce here and the green here. Or are you making a music brassy tone joke? Because a lot of the music I listen to does have a brassy tone. Get it? Because I listen to ska. Anyway, we'll have that there, so... Nope. Okay, so that'll be looking up. See, I can't place a block there, but that's... I think that's okay. Okay, it needs to go up one higher. No music joke here, just thinking classical telescope color. That works too. Okay, so it's... that block, that block. So that's where the slab needs to go. We'll get underneath there for it to place a slab in a moment. I need some scaffolding to do this, I think. Ow. Dang it, why do I thought I had scaffolding in there. I think I will actually wax the very end of this telescope, though. I think I want the brassy tone to stay. Didn't mean to jump off that, but here we are. Okay. So that needs to be a block. Right, okay. It's getting this pattern started that's a bit of a mental gymnastics. Oh, that's interesting. I can't place one there. I didn't think the carpet would stop a half slab on the upper portion, but it does. The more you know. I am thinking, previously, the last time I built a telescope, I had the mounting bracket right here to be the pivot point, but I honestly think building it further out just will make visually more sense and feel like it's appropriately supporting what it is. Not where that needs to go at all. So it needs to go there. So that a vertical stair can go here. No, it goes there. Ay vey. Building this much along a slope can be weird. Right, so that goes there. Okay, so that's how the pattern needs to go. But better. Nope. Not how you go. So you go like that. And you go like that. Which means I think I actually... Yeah, I put this on wrong anyway. Because that needs to be an upside down piece. Pretty fly for a rabbi stuck in your head. There's worse things to have stuck in your head, I guess. Okay, that's coming together. Why does that not look right, though? No, it is. It's just the way the stairs make it look. That's 3 half blocks. You've repeated a song so good Michael Jackson ripped it off. Sure, that's exactly how it happened. Also good to see you, Gail. That way. And then a half slab. I'm beginning to learn how to do this. It only took me this long. What? That has a sentence I just read. This telescope is also going to be long, because if I have to start from the center, which I think makes sense, there's a fair amount of distance between here and the edge. The film is certainly a film. Maybe I will pack it. I've heard good things. I just haven't gotten around to seeing it, so out of context, that line makes no sense. I am still a fan of Weird Al's other movie. Bringing my dad's taking it out to the server. I think he has it on the server, actually. Oh, yeah, no, my dad's had a Plex for a while. In fact, he had a private movie server for the family before Plex was even a thing. I forget what software he used, but the first time I saw an Apple TV device, what I found hilarious and also very Apple was it had the exact same UI. That explains so much. Oh. Beer Fox, you don't know the half bit. I paid for a Blu-ray that is clearly someone who burned it and shipped it from Sri Lanka. Oh dear. I saw a very funny thing online. I felt bad for the person, but it was very funny. They had bought a 4K Ultra movie. I forget what it was, but just, you know, the disc was 4K Ultra. They took off the dust jacket, and underneath was a Blu-ray case, so just 2K HD. or whatever. That got put in wrong. They opened the case and it was a regular DVD. So it just kept getting worse and worse. No, it needs to go this way. There we go. I'm confused. What did I mess up? I didn't mess anything up. Okay. Everything's golden. I want to finish this layer before I go to bed. First video games were probably Commodore 64. Remember a keyboard ran stuff on a TV and put cartridges into? That sounds like a C64, all right. First game you remember playing was Neverhood. I don't remember the first game I ever played. I don't really have memories before my family. So my mom had a Game Boy, like an OG Game Boy. I played Tetris and Quicks and Elevator Action on that. And my family had a Super Nintendo. And given when that came out and when we got it and how old I was, it tracks that I don't have memories before it. Kirby, that's right, Kirby. I always thought I was an uncool kid because I didn't have a console. Is this why you have the cool hair now? Are you making up for lost time? I'm gonna have to chop down some spruce trees, but that's why I planted so many. Gorilla Banana Grenade game. Huh, I don't know that one off the top of my head. I do know Commander Keen. First game I ever got into is Age of Empires 2! I remember playing other games and seeing cousins play StarCraft. Oh. That's how it started. I'm so sorry. There was no hope, Brayherd. And that's as much as I can do there right now, so let's go chop down some spruce trees. No, I grew up with Nintendo console stuff, but also PC gaming stuff. It has been a while, but I shared a very... my first FPS. I played that on stream. Nerf Arena Blast. I think I played that back in late mode days. But I've played other old computer games that I remember from childhood. Loom. Loom is one of them. I haven't played Myst on stream. No, I did. Did we play Myst? Yeah, we played Myst on stream. We haven't played Riven yet. I need to play Riven on stream. Quake 3 Arena was certainly an experience back in the day. Yeah. Never got into the Quake or Doom stuff. And certainly not the Quaker Doom stuff. Lemmings Warcraft. I have Lemmings on Super Nintendo. It has 3 music tracks. It's actually kind of terrible. Warcraft Ski Free, Maniac Mansion. Gorilla game was called Gorillas, huh? I have never heard of Gorillas, and I've heard of a lot of old PC games, but obviously I can't know them all. Lemmings on Game Boy. Ooh. That is a control experience. Well, when we hit 500 followers, one of the things I intend to do is shuffle all the about 50-ish Super Nintendo games I have. In the way I did Kingdom Hearts We Have at Home. And Lemmings is in that mix. So in the immortal words of Scar, be prepared. No, I'm a hipster now because I play computer games before they were cool. You know, I had a real sort of crisis of identity the other day. Because, like, all over Twitter, the hip thing all of a sudden is to hate on the hipsters, particularly the hipster music movement of Stomp and Stroll of the aughts and 10s. And I was like, but I was hating on hipsters before it was cool. So that makes me a hipster hate hipster. But now it's cool to hate hipsters. Oh no! I need to go to 10. And see how much of Mario and Luigi I play on vacation. Well, you can't play it at the zoo. A computer game from the Gap. I know nothing about that, but that sounds fascinating. I remember playing... Cherry Pepsi had a Myst clone that was really buggy and not very good, but existed. That was basically just a big advertisement. Like, the secret and the mystery you solved was to drink more Cherry Pepsi. Gap Kids Adventure. Okay. I could see that. I mean, I remember a Captain Crunch game. That involved going underground and really seemed out of depths of a naval officer, but, you know. I remember music CDs from your serial. Hey, Clutch, good to see you. Watching for the first time with the fiancé, and I asked her if she wants to tell you anything. Said she wants you to know that we'll be praying for you. Your intention. Oh, thank you so much, Clutch. So sweet. Also, good to meet you, Clutch. Clutch's fiancé. I'm trying to figure out how to portmanteau it, and it's just not working. But glad to have you here today. I clutch fiance. Ooh, that's a good one. Fiance pentakill. That sounds like you're gonna get a visit from the cops. Let's partner kill. No. Anyway, glad to have you here. I could probably make a few more stairs, to be honest. I clutch Pentakiss. That's a good one. Okay, so now that we have more of all this spruce, we can keep working on the telescope. Of course, it's raining and it's almost nighttime. We're about halfway to the border of the observatory, and then we still want to go a little bit further. I don't think I need to go super far. I originally had an idea of like a telescope sticking way out, but I think just the sheer amount of material that's already gone into it, we don't need it. But this will be good. This will... Wait. Something's messed up. Oh, consarn it. Two things are messed up. Okay, well... They performed surgery on a grape, but I performed surgery on a telescope. One's still not... I wanted to make a joke. I wasn't sure how it was going to come together, so I'll just kind of share the skeleton of it. But just your comment there, Beer Fox, and just say, you're something along the lines of, "You're lucky I don't know how to spell." See, explaining the joke made the joke funny. You don't know how to smell either. How does he smell? With his nose. It's kind of humor I'd expect from The Naked Gun, which, by the way, is a very funny movie. Have a seat. No thanks, I have enough at home. What's Mickey short for? He's a baby! Why though? Who knows? Now, see, to win Scrabble, you need to learn all of your two-letter words, so you can just like stack everything. Yeah, I don't know why Dot gets auto-modded. AB, to pay for, obtain the cost of labor or suffering, redeem, pay for penalty for... It's not that I don't believe you. It's that I don't believe the internet. I mean, my only other thought is maybe another language, just, you know. Twitch is be international, but... No, dead internet theory. Yep. The worst part about the dead internet theories, it's just all sales. It's all just advertisement. I can trust the internet? No. Barely caught the corner of that, although I do have an Elytra, so I would have been fine, but still. That is a good term. I also appreciate that you censored it. No. The Wild West days of the internet are over. No. No. This has the potential for some fun optical illusions. What's the old meme on the internet? No one knows you're a cat. Well, now with VTubing, everyone knows. Well, it's officially a large telescope. We'll still make it a little bit bigger. You know, it'd be really meta to have as your lore as a VTuber. It's just talk about you are an industry plant from a mega corporation. I mean, yeah, I think there is something to be said for just having fun with it and just being something. But I think there is something, too, about developing a character and role-playing it. You know. Because think of it in, like, D&D terms. Like, yeah, you can just play a barbarian who smashes things. Or you can have a tragic backstory. Well, maybe not if you're a barbarian, but... And it's just... Well, yeah, but when Tony the Tiger streamed, that was from a mega corporation. I'm saying it would be funny to just, like... have your lore be like, yeah, I work for a mega corporation, but I just can't tell you who. And just like when you're asked any questions, you're like, yeah, no, I don't actually have any real lore. I'm just an industry plant. Barbarians can have feelings too. No, well, yeah, they have anger, and they have happy. They have smashed things. I feel very precarious working over this compared to over that for some reason. It's not a huge difference, and I have an Elytra, so it's like whatever. Barbarians can be sad? I guess. I just have never seen one. Just don't fall, Fivehead. Thank you for the helpful advice, Gale. I'll keep it in mind. Is that far enough? Let's take a look. Let's take a step back. You know what's terrible about this? Is that a status effect? I think my barbarian's immune to that. So I really should have built this kind of like on an outer ring, not at the center. That's really tall. We're just going to imagine that it extends when it's deployed. Shouldn't it be conical? Okay, you make something that's conical and slanted in Minecraft. You have ideas? I kind of want to just run with it at this point. I think it's funny enough. And I think once the dome is in, because the dome will be, you know, basically this size rotated. You the boss. I am the one with the keys to the crafts of the mines. Yeah, before I go undoing this, I want to test. So, do we have any more white wool lying around? Just a little bit, but we can go get more. Okay, that should be enough to get this portion done. Okay, so how far across is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, well, 9's not what I expected. So I need 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's 3 up. And then 2. Yeah, I know what you're talking about with this automation stuff, Beer Fox. I detect the grass is eaten. I go to my sheep. This isn't Factorio. This isn't satisfactory. Although I do know you can actually legitimately automate a sheep farm. The best I've seen is it was basically 4 water flows. So the sheep would go around and they'd got to a point and they'd land and there was grass there and they need it. And they get back in the water and it pushes them further around and there was like a shearing spot in the line. Oh. Oh, wait. Oh. Oh, no. I just realized something terrible, chat. Come with me on an adventure in creative mode. Why not? So this is the center block. Do you see a problem, chat? Cut once, measure twice. Nah. Not in this hassle. I might just move this over in creative. Because I thought this block... I don't know why I thought this block was the center. I mean, it is centered along this line, but it's not centered along this line. It's all off by 1. So what I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to fix that in creative mode, because I don't feel like undoing that and redoing it in survival. When proof of concept I have it, I just need to shift it over 1 block. But the good news is looking at this archway of what the dome will look like is, and I might try some things with the dome, because normally I just wind up making these like flat bars across on these portions and those portions. I might try like tapering this down relative to the wall behind it, and like if you're shifting it 1 block, you may as well shift it to the outside. What do you mean to the outside? Like the outer ring? Is that what you're saying? instead of starting at center. I kind of like it starting at center. I think it's kind of comical. And I think once the dome is mostly in place, it won't look as weird. But I'm going to have to do that off camera because I don't feel like doing that right now. Because then what I'd have to wind up doing is I'd have to, like, design a track that would give the illusion of, like, its movement, and I just don't want that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Measure once continually. Wait. Okay, Xeno. You got it because Xeno's paradox. It's a Greek philosophy joke. Xeno must have been a lot of fun at parties. Wait, hold on. Oh, that's where I screwed up. Is there a Xeno in 40K? I don't know that much about the lore, to be honest, beyond the broad strokes. Or are you saying Xenos? Oh. No, Xeno with a Z. Okay, but that gives us a sense of the size of the dome in the observatory, and I think that's pretty cool looking. Top would be if this is 9 by 9 as a circle, kind of look around like that. And then on this side, we'd have sort of the two doors open. So what I'll wind up doing is I'll build the dome, excluding that, and then just kind of build a layer supported outward. Also, I was thinking on certain parts of the inside, like here, placing iron bars, or iron, yeah, I guess bars is what they are. So it looks like kind of a support structure on the inside, holding all the cloth up and in tension. Yeah, I don't know. I might move this to an outer ring, but I don't know. I kind of like it as it is. It's kind of comical. And I think once the wall is all the way around it, it may not be as obvious. I'll have to think about it. I like the design, the shape that you helped design, though, Beer Fox. I am going to stick with this. Do I have a second set of shears? Yes. Great. It works. Modern telescopes use reflections to enlarge the image so that it could just be a straight cylinder. It works, but it is off by 1. That part I cannot deny. Hey, Dope Leo, how you doing today? One, two, three, 4, 5. This is 2, 3. And there you guess. Oh, I hope the day gets better for you. We're doing pretty good here. Built this massive telescope. The only problem is it's off by 1, so I got to fix that at some point. But that sounds like a future Father Evan problem. Except that's not exactly how I wanted that. I meant to build that. Oh, we have some pretty fun builds here in this Minecraft server. So that's... That's the 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should line up there. Yep. Is this Java? Yes. Yeah. I had to stop and think. Yeah, I've been playing Minecraft since it was in like early alpha in 09. And just kind of stuck with Java. I have scaffolding, but I'm lazy. Hey, it all lined up. I think the cacti aren't growing because I'm just too far from them. You'll love to see it indeed. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking, like, what if I... Taper thing could be a chunk loading issue. It might be. I don't know how much the server's handling. Because I just left it on earlier today, and I hung out kind of over here by these trees. And just let it run for like half an hour, and all the cacti grew. Okay, I like how the dome is coming together there. That looks good. That looks good. I also have a lot of things that are checking every tick. It's like we've got a lot of copper that's still going verdigris. So that maybe that it's just trying to compute too much. Although it's running smoothly, so I don't know. For right now, I need to go do some farming, though. I need some additional beef soon, and need to get that growing. Hey, your iron pieces are all cut. Nice. Also, really nice thing I realized about the Basilica the other day is that because it's in a savanna, I don't think a thunderstorm can ever generate there because it doesn't rain in the savannas, so the dome cannot burn. And there is a setting I could change so that it wouldn't burn even if it did, but I need to do that. I just forget. Hey, Hollow Blossoms. Thank you for the follow. How you doing today, Blossom? Twitch unfollowed me. Ah, that's so rude, Twitch. Why would you do that? I thought maybe it's because of the name change. I don't know. That's very unrude. That is very, very unrude. Very rude, Twitch. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, Blossom. I have found out it unfollowed me from so many people. Oh, no! That's not helpful. Rude. I have an emote for that. And you're subscribed. I forgot. It's okay. I forgot too until you said that. Ah, the singular brain cell with googly eyes. I love that emote, and it was surprisingly easy to make. Like, I whipped all that up in Canva, and it's just 2 elements. It's the googly eyes and the brain cell. Like, that brain cell with that coloration was just a thing on Canva you can use. The shared brain cell is not in your head. That's okay. Given the fact that my telescope is off by 1, it's not in mine either. Twitch chat, who's hogging the brain cell today? Sorry, it was me. I was trying to use nice scissors. Nah, I think that's a fair use for the brain cell. Be safe when you're using scissors. Okay, that's all growing nicely. Let's go feed the chickens and the cows. Use of the brain cell to care for a baby. Yeah, I mean, that's also probably a good thing. Chicken. And I got a chicken from the egg. Who wants some wheat? Used the heck out of the brain cell this morning. Oh, was it a productive morning? Four hours of straight meetings. Oof. That does not sound like a fun use of the brain cell. Let's make a bunch of bread as well. Get notification about looking at your brain cells split. You should name this Basilica Stellarum. Not a bad name. I think we had already come up with the name. What was it? It was. Oh yeah, it's the Brother Guy Observatory, because Brother Guy was in charge of the Vatican Observatory for a number of years. We have the inside. I need to finish up the orrery as well, but I think as well. Don't get stuck in the floor. I think I want to extend the hand railing. All the way around on this. Because right now it just feels dangerous. Whoop. Okay, I need to raise that up. That's what I was testing. There we go. That feels safer. And it still looks pretty good. Hey, ML. Yeah, so I was thinking is kind of on the inside here. Maybe I'll, yeah. No, I think I'll start the scaffolding there. I want to keep the map as intact as much as possible. But yeah, I kind of like having iron bars like this. Just kind of dot the outside. So it gives it the look of some natural support. I got turned around. I forgot which way was towards the base. Power went out. That's not good. So that means the swamp cooler goes out. Hope the power comes back quickly. Thundering. Lightning and the thunder? Feel it thunder? It has been a day! Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that. We are in fact one day closer to the Assumption. I should figure out what my homily is going to be. I have the noon mass. Do you want to hang out at the mall with an infant? Yeah, I don't blame you. Besides, the mall may not have power Just swing it? Amazingly, that's not actually always a good idea. I actually do have some thoughts already. I have been thinking about it and praying about it, I promise. It's also kind of surprise sneaking up on me in some ways, too. Just assume the spirit is at work. That's not what assumption in this case means. You fear when you're going to Mass? Holy days be like that. I've heard that some visiting churches do. The Assumption homily so boring people are falling asleep. Actually, that is a very good joke. That is a very high-end inside joke. You see, because in the Orthodox tradition, they don't have the Assumption. They believe in the Dormition of the Theotokos. Dormition means the falling asleep. It's the same sort of root as like dormitory. Your regular parish isn't having any Friday masses. That's wild. And like, I guess if the pastor just isn't able to, like, you know, life happens and sometimes, like, I remember seeing a parish once that's like, yep, pastor can't be here for New Year's Day for Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God. So we're just having a communion service that day. If it's because it's the priest's day off, I think you can shift your day off that week, Father. A priest came to us, two churches in Texas Hill Country. Both are hit hard by flooding. He's going out there. Okay. That's a fair reason then. That is a fair reason that he cannot, you know, bilocate. I'm missing a piece of scaffolding somewhere. Because I had a full stack of 64. I don't know. Actually, probably clear out these ones on the sides. Yeah, both things can be true at the same time. I'm gonna put the scaffolding up here so that when I look for it, there it is there. So I'm thinking I may leave the the bars stopping right there. I kind of like the idea of the center being open, but I may wind up bringing them all the way across. Gonna kind of see, but I like the look that that's giving. Just adding a little bit of detail and texture. I will have to move this over. I'm gonna do that in creative mode because that is just too much of an ask to do that in survival, I think, to just move it over by 1. But yeah, I feel like we made really good progress today. Like, we got a good... I didn't complete the map, which was what I had hoped to do, but that's okay. I need more green and more wool, so that's kind of just a waiting game. But we filled in a good portion of it. It looks like a map. And we got chicken! We got chicken by accident! But I do like how the dome is coming together and the telescope. We figured out this really nice shape. Shout out to Beer Fox for helping with that. Sounds like you need to automate wool. That sounds like too much effort. But yeah, well, we got a few more minutes. I don't want to start anything else, but to anyone who is new here and maybe hasn't seen our other builds, maybe just a little quick curated show off. We have our opera house, which is almost completely verdigreed on the domes, which is nice. And I think that's a really good look. It contrasts with all the red tones on the inside. I feel like we were just finishing the church. It does feel that way. The church took a while. But yeah, we have the inside. We have like the posters of previous ones. And then on the inside, we have the various levels of seating and the balcony, or the boxes and the stage. And you can even go behind the stage. And there's the catwalk. Oh, wow, that's all completely verdigreed. That's nice. Dressing rooms. And the thing you don't necessarily see right away. These are dome made of wool. On the observatory, it will be. But if we come below, we actually have a full cistern that we built underneath, well, before we even built the opera house, with the underground lake. Why, yes, I am a fan of Phantom of the Opera. Why do you ask? Then over here, we have the Basilica, Our Lady of the Angels, complete with its own little graveyard. Looks really pretty in the sunset. Nice little courtyard it has. And then next to it, we have the marketplace. All the different stalls. And the modernist house. Which I really like. I think I'd need curtains, but I think this is a cool looking house. I feel very comfortable there. And it has a swimming pool. And all of this was done in survival. Which is crazy. I look at this sometimes and go, all this is hand-built. What about DTD? That area is built in the creative garden. I can go there too. Set the time today just to make it easier to see. Yeah, every year we have... I gotta start thinking about this because the 3rd anniversary is coming up. But we have the creative garden where we saw the sheep farm. Or cow farm and chicken farm. For year 1, we built the Door to Darkness. Because the very first game I played was Kingdom Hearts. So, survival-ish, you didn't have to trek between the desert and biome and the building site. Okay, well, I shortcut it with flying and in this mode, but, like, that's proof of concept. And then for year 2, because I introduced the candy wheel, we built this weird candy shop. And then on the news of the death of Pope Francis, we built his coat of arms. And this is actually now a map in the Basilica, so you can see it there. And I learned a lot about how to do pixel art in Minecraft with that. But if you go into the Confessio here in the Basilica, there it is. Meep mass, Invisalign meep. But yeah, these have all been a lot of fun. Really good builds. We had an idea for what to do next. Oh yeah, maybe doing a greenhouse over here, like something in the style of the London Fair, the Crystal Palace. Meat Mass is good. Shout out to Junie. Junie did that amazing art. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to call it for the day. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been a good be with y'all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. CPFC. I don't know what CPFC is. I am thinking Crystal Palace, but... Crystal Palace Football Club? Is there a football club named after the Crystal Palace? Anyway, thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. I was right. Wow. That sure is a thing. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in to Let's Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. Join us again tomorrow, continuing Monkey Island for Throwback Thursday. Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Medium or Ton Quizlet of Things and Stuff 2, with Melty, Grey Map Pack, Webby Pumpkins, P-Tony, Breedy Bard, and Riffmatic. Should be a lot of fun. So look forward to that. And then Monday, more Clair Obscure. Tuesday, Wildmender. And Wednesday, more Minecraft. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And let's see who's live that we can raid into. Gonna send you on over to... Will there be Jambling on Saturday? I suppose there could be. I leave it to my mods to set that up. Anyway, I'm gonna send you on over to Hollow Blossoms. She just went live since she refollowed me today. Raid call will be either Father Raid as usual, or if you just want to spam the word first, because I think that's funny. Anyway, hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care, and God bless.